Welcome to Nutty Buddy Entertainment. The good.
That's okay. That's good. That's all right. That's okay.
Okay, well, this time I'll start with Brian. Brian, what's one good you have in the Mandalorian?
Black Chrysanthemum. Them bringing him into this, didn't even think it was a possibility. Super cool having him. The fight scene he had in the gambling den / cantina where he rips off the Trandoshan's arms. It's like, yeah, that was a great scene, I thought, especially to just his kind of interaction with them and bringing that into it.
Yeah, I like that as well. Now he's supposed to have cybernetics. Do we know this? Like, yeah, everybody here know that?
Brass knuckles.
Okay. That I didn't know right away when he was first introduced. So yeah, it's kind
they
of
don't really say much about that, but I mean, he's supposed to have like cybernetics throughout his entire body from like when he was in a fighting ring, but they don't really bring that much into it. So
is he from what's he from? Clone Wars or something else?
No, he's not in Clone Wars. I think just from comics
right?
and books. So
yeah. I mean, I will talk about it, but I had a couple issues with some of the writing around him but we'll talk about that later. Which let's see here. Travis, what's one of your good?
I enjoyed the Mando's new ship he got, the Naboo Starfighter that they made. I thought that was cool. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit bigger, but I mean, it's only going to be him and Grogu in it. So I thought that was cool. But like we said, they spent too much time on it. They could have done that half the time. But
yeah, I just wonder if like he's collecting bounties, like if that's still his game, like where's he supposed to put the bodies that, like if he's bringing someone back alive, like where's he supposed to put that prisoner? Was that Chris?
No, I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah,
seemed a little practical.
Yeah, they'll have to get like a trailer or something like to pull it. Good, Brian.
Yeah, my thinking behind that, with him having such a small ship, it's more, I don't know, for the next season, just focusing a little bit more on like where their storyline goes and trying to figure out that in a way, because if they were to get a bigger ship and then are they just going to continue doing what they've been doing? So it's interesting to see, but the ship's cool.
yeah, that's I like the way the ship looks too. Let's see, Chris, how about you? What's a good you had?
For me, good was just all like kind of like the fun, weird droids and aliens and side little, not cameos per se, but just you see them for a few seconds. Some of my favorites, the musician playing like the fretless fake guitar, playing like flamenco jazz version of the Cantina band music. That guy was cool. The little poker droid with the green translucent hat that like guys wear in movies I've never seen in real life, but like that was a droid in the bar or whatever that was. Amy Sedaris's junkyard character had the little droid from Star Wars Fallen Order. The exact name of the droid is escaping me at this moment.
Yeah,
Speedy.
Yeah, the little guy. He was cool. It was cool to see that. You got your Gamorreans.
The Pikes were pretty cool to see, huh? Like,
they're like weird fish guys.
But you didn't see any of the cartoons though. That's probably why you didn't appreciate that as much.
Do you guys remember seeing them in Solo?
I don't remember the live action versions. I don't remember seeing it.
I tried to forget about that movie.
Well, it had one of the coolest reveals at the end that they never paid off, which was disappointing to me.
Yeah.
So I tried
the Wookiee. We talked about him. It was cool to see like a crazy psycho Wookiee. I I think that's, I mean, there was a lot of like the bulldog looking aliens. That was like the guys that the first bounty that Mando got. That was, I forget what they're called, but so overall, just like the general like building of the world to see like kind of some different aliens and droids and stuff like that. So you haven't seen before, so that's good for me.
That's good. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I'm gonna say Fennec Shan was my first good. I thought she was a pretty cool character in the show, especially at the last episode when she like took out all the syndicate bosses, like just where the Pikes were hiding and all the other Tatooine crime lords, and she just gets in there and just without being seen like takes them all out. Again, she was cooler than Boba Fett was. And if you would just have like switched their roles, Boba Fett would have been so much cooler. But yeah, so Fennec Shan, I liked her in this series. She was kind of cool.
That reminded me of other one, the mayor being an Ithorian, and he talks with like a translator or something like in his like.
Oh yeah, sure.
That was cool because they're a cool Star Wars alien. So good job for putting him in there.
Yeah. Chris, have you ever played Knights of the Old Republic?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it was sweet to see him as well. That character. But...
let's see here. Let's go around again. Brian, what about you? Another good for you?
On the line of what Chris was saying with kind of their just world building, I think some of the scenery or the worlds we got to see, like when Din first showed up, that world where he brought the bounty back to was super cool. Like more of that incorporated into there, as well as the planet that Luke and Grogu were on. Like that was really cool to see. Just a lot of it being focused on Tatooine. It's nice to kind of get a break and go outside of that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you like Tatooine because the next show is all on Tatooine also.
I know.
Obi-Wan. Maybe if, before we go, maybe we could talk about that a little bit because I have my worries about Obi-Wan. I'll try to remember to bring it up. Travis, you have another good?
So should we get into this Cad Bane thing or should we wait?
No, go ahead.
I have Cad Bane's in my good. Overall, I thought everything about him was great, except for, and I don't know if this was how they wrote him and how they wanted him to be, but like when somebody asked him a question, like when the marshal was talking to him, it just took him forever to reply back to him. And I'm like, is he computing something? Like, is something not going, like whatever he was trying to say, it just seemed like it was way too more suspenseful than what it needed to be for him to just reply back. That was my only gripe with it. Otherwise, I love Cad Bane.
That might be on purpose with the writing because he got shot in the head by Boba, so he might be a little slow now.
Or like an intimidation type thing, like he paused on purpose to, the suspense. But you're right; those were pretty drawn out suspense. Or Brian could be right; he might lost the IQ or two since getting that metal plate on his head. That's for sure. Brian, what was your since we're talking about Cad Bane, what was your gripe with Cad Bane?
My one gripe that I had is his hat wasn't big enough. It
Okay.
was smaller than it should have been. I couldn't take him as serious because his hat just looked a little too small for what it was. I think if he had a little bit bigger of a brim, it would have been a lot more intimidating, but that was my little thing.
Okay. My gripe was simply that I didn't think they really so the final battle, when clearly the Pikes lost and the Rancor was involved, Cad Bane shows up. I feel like that was out of character for him. I think like he's able to dissect the situation, and oftentimes he'll leave when he understands it's a losing battle. And for him to jump in there, this is part of when we get into the bad writing, in my opinion, is Cad Bane shows up and then he gets the Rancor to go, and it's just him and Boba. It's like, where are all the other fighters of Freedom Town and Mando and all these guys that were just shooting from the buildings, And it's like, where are they? Are they just watching this showdown take place? We don't get an understanding of why they just randomly stopped firing at Cad Bane. But I do feel like Cad Bane would have left, right? Because he has a self-preservation. He's about survival. And for some reason, he stayed in that situation. I don't know why. Go ahead, Chris.
No, as to your point, didn't he tell like he was beating up Boba, and what was the whole thing where he was like, uh, you got to be more ruthless, or you got to know when to, fight or flight, or I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it seemed to recall it being something along the lines where you just said, where it's like, this is a losing situation, like look out for yourself and don't get killed. So, if that's what he was saying to Boba, and again, I might be completely wrong or remembering it wrong, but he should follow his own advice.
No, I think you're right. I think that's what he said. I think he said something along the lines is like, you got to look out for yourself. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like he even said those words. So like, but then in that moment, you're like, well, then why aren't you doing that? Because you're losing right now. You're losing. You should be leaving right now, and he sat there and he fought Boba despite, clearly they lost the fight at that point. So I just felt like watching Clone Wars and Rebels, it was out of character for him to stay in the back. He's a bounty hunter. He really has no, what's it called? No reason to stay. Yeah. That's it. Travis, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
In his defense, there is only about 20 guys that they were fighting against the 5,000 Pike guys that were there. So he probably could have beat all of them, but we won't get into that right now.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree with that. But it was like at the end of the fight where like we saw the Rancor eat a bunch of them and then somehow. But go ahead, Chris.
No, is there something for those of you who have seen his past appearances? Does he have like you said Boba shot him in the head?
Yeah.
Okay, because my question is like, does he have like a grudge against him or like hate him or something? But
Cad Bane like trained him when he was younger, so they grew up. He kind of showed him the ropes of like how to be a bounty hunter, and yeah, I'm not sure exactly what their falling out was, but I know it was like a deleted episode where he got shot in the head by Boba. So
and then that dent on the top of Boba's helmet that came from Cad Bane. So whenever you see Boba, the helmet, there's a dent, and that was Cad Bane shooting him, and then like Brian said, he got hit in the head. So yeah, that was a deleted episode. We actually never got to see that episode, but again, it's just not out of it's kind of out of Cad Bane's character. I've seen him run from Obi-Wan before when clearly he was lost or whatever. So it's like he's had gripes against other people where he didn't stay and fight. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, if they would have maybe shown like the Pikes like, wise incentive of like sticking around to, go after Boba, but there was really nothing like, hey, I'm getting this much money or we'll give you this part of the spice trade. But yeah, that once again, that's more into like the writing they had for it, which we'll get into later. So
oh yeah, we will get into the writing. I promise you that. Let's see here. Chris, you have another good?
Yeah, just a slight one, but I like seeing Deputy Raylan Givens again, even though he was playing a different character. He was still Deputy Raylan Givens. So Timothy Oliphant, gladly the end credits scene, he's in a back tank and he's going to get body modification. So hopefully he comes back and sticks around. I think the whole like how he got involved was pretty stupid, but just having Timothy Oliphant back is good.
Yeah, so there's sort of now becoming this, to me in my head, this continuity error that they're kind of creating with these cyborg people is like we're seeing a lot of these cyborg people, but I don't ever remember seeing anyone in episode 7 that was a cyborg person, and this would have been what 40 years after, right? 20, I think 20.
Yeah.
So you would think we would have seen some cybernetic people, but now we're seeing. Well, now everyone's becoming a cybernetic person, but then we don't see any in episode 7. So now the continuity is kind of getting, again, not good storytelling, in my opinion. It's kind of veering off to the right a little bit to me.
I kind of have a thing. No, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm just like thinking if they would have incorporated it, we would have seen like the Knights of Ren's with slick back hair and just like duster jackets showing off.
Go ahead, Chris. That's great.
No, I just reminded what Travis said about Knights of the Old Republic before. It reminded me of kind of like a thing with Star Wars. For me, I think it's kind of funny. Like if you play Knights of the Old Republic, which takes place like 3,000 years before the movie, like and then watch like the current Star Wars, like the technology is exactly the same. Like all the ships look the same, all the weapons look the same. So it's like 3,000 years of galactic history, and it's like exactly the same. So maybe 20 years of in between movies isn't enough time for body modifications to advance super rapidly.
Go ahead, Travis.
Maybe I forget which planet it is that the Death Star blows up, but maybe all of those guys with their modifications are on that planet and it gets nuked.
Oh,
That's why we don't see any of that.
maybe. Well, the problem is with the theory, Chris, that you have, which is true, is like maybe the in Star Wars they hit a certain peak of technical, like with ships and stuff that they can't supersede. Like in our world, yes, it's a different universe though. So, but the only problem I would say that I would have with your sort of theory is that we're starting to see like every person become a cybernetic being right before our eyes, and this is 20 years later. So it seems like it should, I mean, at least two. Like, can we get two people in episode 7 that have cybernetic parts? Like, but we don't get anyone. So again, I just feel like they're kind of breaking their own continuity a little bit. But anywho, a good I had was the Jetpack Fight, Boba and Mando. I actually, that was maybe that's in the top 3 scenes for me. I thought that was really cool. Jetpacks are very underused, as we already mentioned, but that scene was pretty cool, except there was one too many leg kicks up by Boba. The second leg kick where he like brings it up to his chest like he's a ballerina dancer or whatever. I couldn't like, and then he fires that thing out of his knee. I was like, that was a little much for me. The first one was really cool, but the second one I just was like, that's too much for me. But other than that, I really liked that scene.
You didn't like the knee rocket, Ryan?
I like the first time he did it. The second time when he brought it all the way up to his chest like he was doing a Pilates move, I couldn't do it for me. That was a little much. I like the first time he did it though.
But he's got that back to rejuvenation in him.
Don't even get me started on that yet.
That's great. Okay. Any other good guys? Go ahead, Travis.
Ryan, I talked to you before about this, but the Rancor fight, I was really worried that it was going to be really stupid because I thought it was going to be really bad CGI or they're going to make it really dumb, basically. But I thought they did pretty good with it overall. There's a couple of cheesy things with it, which I'll get into with like my bad or ugly, but overall, I thought the Rancor fight was pretty good.
Yeah, it went better than I expected. But I talked to you about it, so I can't wait till you bring up your cheesy stuff. But it was kind of neat. Chris?
Another small one just for a fun person to show up, kind of like Timothy Oliphant. Thundercat, the musician, as the body modification doctor. He's a really cool musician, and I think like when he's like Boba's like walking into his building, there's like some cool like future music and there's some like cool like bass sounding music, so I kind of feel like Thundercat contributed like music to that scene. So just having him show up is really cool, even if you think maybe the body modification stuff was a little silly, but just having him be in Star Wars is really cool for me. So that's a good.
Nice. So now that's canon, the Thundercats, right?
Well, no, that's his musician name is Thundercat.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're canon now that he's in there.
Oh, yeah.
So they have a band. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Okay, any other good?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. I actually like the Tuscan Raiders backstory, just getting a little bit more in depth into them. I wish there was more incorporated into that, which we'll get into next. But yeah, I did like that story when we did go to it, kind of learning more about them.
That's funny. That's funny you say that because that was my last good is the first 2 episodes. I didn't like them that much. I thought, I'll say it like this. The concept was good. The execution wasn't.
I agree with you. Yeah, that's kind of gets into my bad with them. The concept of them and everything was good, but they should have been utilized a lot more than what they were.
Okay, so I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear how you would have done it a little differently. Travis, you had another one?
So it's flirting on good and in between there and okay, but I enjoyed them bringing in the twins, the Jabba the Hutt's cousins, I believe they are. I was hoping they're gonna have a little bit more to do with the story, but I think they're only in there for like 2 episodes or something like that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting because we thought that was who the actual bad guy was, but it turns out that they didn't want anything to do with that. So I just wish that they were in there because they weren't used enough, because who doesn't like Jabba the Hutt and his relatives?
Yeah. Okay, I like that one too. I should have a meh category where we like, it wasn't like great or good, but it wasn't bad either. Yep. Okay, you guys ready to move on, or do we got another one? Okay,
Yeah, I
let's
think that's about it.
Let's roast it.
okay. Hold
Let's
on
rock
to
and roll now.
buckle up your seatbelts, everybody. We're gonna
Comes
get
the
into
good part.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed us discussing Boba Fett. If you'd like to hear the rest of what we had to say as far as the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly, also our ratings for Boba Fett, and changes that we would have made, and what we're expecting from the Obi-Wan series. If you'd like to listen to any of that, click on one of the links below to listen to the rest of the podcast. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll talk to you guys soon.